Coming up, we'll talk about the new Festival of Fantasy Parade that debuted at the Magic Kingdom this past weekend. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, you're listening to the DIS Unplugged. This is the DIS Unplugged, episode 687 for the week of March 11th, 2014. The DIS Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends Sean Thompson, Craig Williams, Kathy Whirling, Corey Martin, and our producer back in the Nook, Dustin West.
Thank you.
And, one of the things I'm really been very excited about this week is that we have two things to talk about in Flower and Garden and this parade that are overwhelmingly positive experiences. It seems like that's not always the case. We try and be fair and give our honest opinions, and can honestly tell you that the Festival of Fantasy Parade is, in my opinion, at least in Orlando, the best parade we've ever seen.
Agreed.
I was not there in the park with these guys. I was one of the 5,100 people who were watching it live on our live stream channel. That was the largest audience we've ever had, I think, in one of our live streams. And if you want to be notified when those shows, when we're going live with something, you just got to subscribe to us on live stream. We'll have a link to that in the show notes page, disunplugged.com, where we have links to everything we talk about in our show. And I sat there and watched this parade go by. And all I kept saying was, "Oh my God, oh my God! Look at that! Look at that! And it just incredible." One of the things that we've been saying is that this is not going to be a recycle the magic. And of course, someone points out on YouTube that some of these floats, 2 or 3 of them, were borrowed heavily from floats that were in Tokyo Disneyland in one of their parades. I think it was Jubilation, and it doesn't count. It doesn't count. When we talk about recycle the magic, we mean the last parade we saw in the Magic Kingdom they throw a coat of paint on one of the floats, and then
or like the one that Kevin is always referring to, that Castle Mirror float, which they've literally used in every parade since the 25th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom,
and did not make an appearance, I believe, this time.
God.
No,
but. Why don't you guys talk a little bit about, the experience being in the park for this? Because this was a very popular day to be in the Magic Kingdom for this parade.
Yeah, so people were really excited. We actually got a preview. Dustin and I went to a press preview, and so we got to see some of the floats, a lot of the costumes. So there were photos around, so people kind of knew what to expect a little bit, that everything was going to be new and exciting. And Disney Parks Blog had released kind of some of the dragon pictures of the Maleficent float. So people were really excited. So everyone came out to this debut on Sunday actually, and the park was so crowded.
We got lucky because we were there for quite a few hours waiting for the parade, and we had a little bit of pre-parade entertainment in the fact that it was Dapper Day. Coincidentally on that day, so we had some enjoyment watching all the different people dressed up.
For those who don't know what that is, why don't you explain what Dapper Day is?
Dapper Day is, it's a day that apparently has some sort of calendar. Somebody decides that it's Dapper Day, and you dress up as if it were like old style Hollywood 1930s, 40s kind of stuff. So you see people dressed up, kind of like that, wearing hats and vests for the men and dresses for the women.
And petticoats and high heels. And
it's heavily based out of Disneyland, and like they used to do the date nights at Disneyland where everyone would get dressed up and go and be able to dance and all that. So it's it's huge out there because everyone gets dressed up in their 50s, early 60s gear like they'd be back there whenever Disneyland first opened up and kind of stroll along the park. They try to do it in Florida too, but two issues. It's just too hot to wear a lot of that stuff around there, and you miss out on that whole locals aspect that Disneyland has. Everyone kind of knows about it, celebrates it. Out here, you don't really get as much. It's more like college program younger people who actually know about it and still live in the area.
I'm sorry. I think beyond the fact that it was Dapper Day that day, it was just very, very crowded that day, and I don't think that. I think that the parade had something to do with that. Obviously, it's Dapper Day. It's the beginning of the spring break season, but there were a lot of people there ready to see that parade.
Yeah, but back to Dapper Day, there is actually another Dapper Day here in Hollywood Studios in September, because I said Dapper Day just screams Teresa and I that we need to go and dress up, and somebody said that there's one in the fall here. So Teresa and I are
couple of
go.
World War II hussies.
Well, some of the older ladies, it's like, I bet you had that hanging in the back of your closet.
Yeah, really. You hold on to it long enough, it comes back in style. But so talk to me about the parade. Now, you guys got there very early to scope out your spots. Sean and Craig, you were up on the train station platform, and that gave us that nice wide view that we got of the parade, which was important for this because these floats are massive. These were not tiny, normal floats. As a matter of fact, we've mentioned this before. Come Christmas time, they're not going to be able to put the garland across Main Street because these floats are too large.
We were up on the train station, and several times I was at eye line with some of the characters, eye level with the characters, or sometimes they were higher than I was.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I can only feel terrible for the people who were on the ground looking directly in the sun's direction, because you're looking up at every single one of these floats. There's none that are just like right in front of you. You're always looking up. I mean, you're looking down at the characters, but wear sunglasses if you stand on the wrong side of the street.
Well, it looked like from where what I could tell, the sun was behind the train station.
Exactly.
Yes.
So being in front of the train station or right around the hub of Town Square, I should say, is probably a good place to watch it from if you don't want to be staring directly into the sun.
And for that matter, anywhere on Main Street, going down Main Street, the sun is going to be in the perfect position.
Well, from a standpoint of taking pictures, I think you want to be in Town Square because that sun's behind you. So if taking pictures of the parade is important, it's always a good idea to have your light behind you.
Nigel will have a silhouette of the floats.
You'll be getting a lot
just
of dark
to point
floats.
out, this is opposite from the other 3 o'clock parade. It actually goes from Frontierland down towards Main Street, so it ends at Main Street in the hub,
Right.
in the Town Square.
Right.
And it's
that was
always going to be going that way. It's
one
not
of the-
going to switch.
Yeah.
One of the criticisms we were getting when we said we were going to be going live at 3:15, there's the 3 o'clock parade. It takes 15 minutes to get from Frontierland to where we were.
And
That's
it was
why.
actually,
Even
what,
longer.
about
Longer.
3:25?
It was,
At
we were
least.
surprised. This is a slow-moving parade.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to let people know. I think you got the time of the parade wrong. No, this is the time around the time.
Well, because that's the joke. What time is the 3 o'clock parade?
Yeah.
But actually, it is a little later.
It's actually 3:25 Town Square.
The slow moving aspect might be from some of the float designs, because I think they were even larger than they imagined. And we heard a couple stories through Kathy about how floats were running into things. They weren't making the turns properly. Catching on
I was
fire.
down by the ice cream cart done by the Town Square Theater, and they were making everybody, you know how there's like the cement colored curb and then there's like the red color. They were making everybody make sure they were back on the red part because they'd had some experiences where the float came really close to the edge.
Oh, God, could you imagine?
And they were saying, because I was standing there and talked to quite a few cast members and looked at them, because the one cast member goes like, well, that's where I usually stand for the parade. And I went, well, not today, because I've been standing here since 11:30 or
Yeah,
whatever.
really.
But he was saying that when they were doing one of their tests, as the dragon came down Main Street, it caught one of the awnings on fire.
Well,
So-
because the dragon breathes fire, and apparently it breathed fire on a building and set the awning ablaze. So, that's not magical.
Yeah.
But tell me about what things stood out to you. I know one of the things for me that I noticed, and I noticed this in the preview that we had gotten from that video, the costumes. for some of these characters. The costumes for some of the foot characters were incredible. I mean, not your normal Disney parade costumes.
I think out of the costumes, the ones that stand out the most to me are the ones that are featured in the Little Mermaid float and the ones that are featured in the Maleficent Dragon float.
Well,
I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I have some fun facts that I looked up about the parade today. And it says, counting interfacings and trims, it takes 28 separate fabrics to make up one of the swing thug guys that was on the Tangled thing. His vest requires vinyl to be cut into 75 separate diamond shapes and then stitched onto the Kumex fabric that they use so that the cast members aren't too hot. It takes 30 yards of fabric to make one of the Seashell Girl costumes, which includes 12 different colors of the mesh that they use. So Disney knocked themselves out.
Well, a lot of effort was put into this. Let's be clear that, real design,
shows, yeah.
real artistic design effort was put into this parade at every level. And you could tell. You can tell from the floats. You can tell from the costumes. What else stood out to you guys? So tell us some more fun facts there, Kathy. Since you've got a little
Let's see.
paper in
Well,
front of you.
there's over a cast of over 100. The Princess Garden lead float stretches more than 50 feet. The Jolly Roger atop the Peter Pan float flies 28 feet above the parade route. Mickey's Airship, which is the final one, is the tallest float, topping out at 32 feet. The trio finale float spans more than 90 feet along the parade route. Let's see, they actually
Dustin's trying to keep up with you with the pictures.
Sorry. Then the one that I thought that was really interesting, that to me sort of like said Disney, the coral pieces for the coral twins on the Little Mermaid unit were custom designed. They are being hand poured in 3 separate colors by the artisans of the creative costuming craft team and baked and finished for 16 hours each in an oven.
Damn.
As they walk by with their little pieces of coral. Like, would you think that took 16 hours? But, like, wow, Disney for
I know
taking...
it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just those elements were just really really impressive.
And if anybody's counting, Minnie Mouse's dress and hat had 95 gold lame dots that are cut out, blinged out, and then sewn on.
I tried to count, but it was too high.
And then the Cha-Cha Girl, who's in the finale unit, her wig was designed with 148 yards of horsehair in 4 colors that is then rolled, pressed, and curled by hand.
Wow.
So, I mean, they really knocked themselves out.
The Princess float, as it starts the parade, I mean, that's one of the coolest actual floats. It doesn't have a lot of crazy details hidden all over the place, but they have these rotating features on it, so they could actually feature more. So it starts out with Belle and the Beast on the front, and then it goes to Cinderella and Prince Charming.
Yep. So one half is actually the dress, the pink dress that the animals make for her, and then it spins around, and Cinderella and Charming are on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And then one thing that I thought was cool is that they've actually had time to add Anna and Elsa from Frozen.
Yeah.
Because they would have, I mean, it would have been crazy if
Well,
they
that was
didn't have-
last minute from what I understand.
It was, yeah. So one of the rotating panels has Tiana and Naveen on one side. And then on the back, Anna, Elsa, and Olaf are on the other side.
And I mean, that they had to do it.
Yeah.
It was, if they left them out of there, people, well, I don't know if they would have been.
Well, they
pissed
weren't originally
necessarily,
planned because they never expected Frozen to become the juggernaut that it became.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this was kind of last minute. They had to throw the Frozen characters into this,
They did a
and
good job.
they did it at the expense of, was it Princess Aurora?
I'm not sure the exact
That I
story. I've
heard?
heard different things. I think that there might have been a float planned for Princess Aurora and the Three Fairies.
Finley asked, she said, I
Yeah.
see Prince Philip, but I don't see Princess Aurora. It was so fun
Okay,
watching
if the 4-year-old is upset about this, Disney's got to pay attention to
Well,
that.
they really did. I think they spent their Sleeping Beauty budget on that whole series of floats and characters. For me, that is absolutely the standout. It really is.
She was a trip to watch it with. Like, she saw Ariel, she said, where's Prince Eric? I don't know, Finley.
Wow, as critical as her father.
But the parade was perfect for what it was. you get caught up watching it because everything is so beautiful. And the one thing I kept telling myself afterwards is I still like the Sensational parade that Kevin and Jody designed in Disneyland.
It's Kevin Kidney and Jody Daly.
Yeah, I still prefer that parade, but that parade wouldn't work in our Magic Kingdom. That parade works there.
Right, exactly.
But this parade is meant for our Magic Kingdom.
Correct.
You can't put that anywhere else. It fits in with the theme of New Fantasyland so well, which was the whole point of it. And they just knocked it out of the park.
And I think that we are going to have this parade for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I do not think this is going anywhere anytime soon, nor should it.
We've had questions of how long before the dragon stops breathing fire.
Yeah.
How long before it breaks down and
I don't think they're going to let it. That
I
was
hope
by
not.
far the fan favorite moment.
Oh,
of the parade.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, well, first of all, the float itself is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just this gigantic dragon coming down Main Street. And then it starts breathing fire. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
Except I kept saying that they ran out of the budget because the tail's only controlled by someone with a giant stick.
Yeah.
But
I also enjoyed Merida, who was having like a spiritual moment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's one way to describe it.
That's the good Merida. Yeah, that's the one they bring her out for.
Oh, yeah,
all
she looked
the-
great.
Yeah.
And
All the
the
events.
triplet brothers as the bears were on the floats too. They were animatronic. They were like hiding around the bagpipe.
Yeah, but where's Angus? I don't
Angus
know.
isn't there, or Mardu. But yeah, that was a good float. And
Yeah.
the Tangled one was another standout.
Yeah, I really like that one.
So
Yeah,
it
Tangled Float was excellent.
themed after the Snuggly Duckling. And there were kind of these swinging parts. I mean, Kathy talked about the vest on the ruffians, but
Well,
you want to mention?
the tights on the ruffians. Wow. Yay, Disney. More like that, please. This just was impressive because these guys are hanging on. Obviously, they must be
harnessed
tethered to that
in.
Yeah.
in some way. But they're hanging on. These things are really swinging.
Yeah.
This isn't just a little swing. These things are moving. And these guys are just kind of hanging on there, waving at everybody. I'm like, oh, Lord, I hope it doesn't launch one of them into the crowd.
Yeah.
But again, you know, that's what I'm talking about with the elements of these floats. So many of them had these parts to them, these standout pieces to them that just so different than anything we've seen in our Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And I agree with what you said about Sensational. Is the perfect parade for Disneyland would not work here the way it is in Disneyland. Would not work in our Magic Kingdom. This is our parade, though. This is the parade the Magic Kingdom has deserved for a long,
Yes.
long time.
And kind of in that spirit, it's as you were talking about how it's going to be there for a long time. It's not one of those parades that is dependent on like this year's promotion. You know, it's not like
No, this is timeless.
Right, yeah.
This is timeless as far as the Fantasyland inspiration is concerned.
and if anything, they could get away with in a couple of years adding on a Snow White float or adding on an Aurora float and updating it in that fashion, because Snow White did look awkward because she was just walking around with
Right.
the dwarves. Like, for how much they're putting of New Fantasyland into Snow White and that mine train and everything, you'd think that they'd give her a float too to stand on. But
Well, I mean, at some point they've got to draw the line
Yeah.
as to, you know, what do we include and what don't we, and you know, they can't have, you know, a 3.5 hour parade either.
they can.
Yeah,
They
well-
should.
Well, logistically, no, they can't.
But you know what's nice in that picture? Go back to the Jiminy Cricket is in the parade, and Jiminy Cricket, who's sort of like, I don't want to say your mascot for Magic Kingdom, but you very seldom ever see Jiminy Cricket, and now he's in the parade.
Yeah.
I was excited to see Jiminy Cricket.
The dopey costume.
I was going to say one of the coolest
Yeah.
things is the Dopey, and I think it's Sneezy.
Yeah.
Two of the dwarves are combined into one.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think Dopey's on the shoulder of Sneezy.
Just like the dance sequence in the movie.
It looks
How Dopey
really
gets on the
cool.
shoulder.
Really?
It's done really
Yeah,
well.
And the person who was
Because that sounds creepy to me.
The character of Dopey on top of Sneezy was doing really good at like looking like he was off balance, and it was
Yeah.
a really good portrayal of that.
Well, you know, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people say that, you know, normally they skip the parade or the parade's, you know, a good time to go do something else. And now I'm hearing people say that, we've got to go out of our way to see this parade. And that's how I feel, because normally the 3 o'clock parade was a throwaway.
The woman that was next to me with her family, she extended her vacation by 3 days. She originally thought that she booked her vacation around the parade, thinking that it would come out sometime in early March. And then when they finally got the dates was released, she's like, "Oh, I missed it. I've got to extend another 3 days."
Wow!
And she did. She wanted to see that parade. I think she's already home now. She wanted to see the parade.
Well, I think you're going to find a lot of people going out of their way. Yeah. 3 o'clock, if you're not interested in the parade, is going to be a great time to get on attractions at the Magic Kingdom, because everyone's going to be on the parade route.
I was also one of the 5,000 watching it live from home, and I tell you what, the anticipation of everybody in chat. I think it's coming down the street. It wasn't yet, but it was really cool to see that anticipation of how excited everybody was.
I want to take the opportunity to toot our own horn a little bit here. In total, over 20,000 views on the live stream channel for what we broadcast live. These guys filmed with 3 different cameras and put that together Sunday night. That's up on YouTube. That's almost at 60,000 views now. So obviously a real interest in this parade, at least among our folks, a real interest in this parade, which really surprised me. Honestly surprised me that, I knew it was going to be popular, but, seeing over 5,000 people watching it live.
Sunday afternoon.
On a Sunday afternoon, that was...
When I saw it, I think I turned to Katie and went like, yes, because it's like, sometimes I feel like like I'm always saying that Disney's good or, but this now I can really say, go see the parade, like they did it.
I think Disney needs to learn that for some of the disappointments that people have, when they put time, effort, and money into doing something like this,
right?
When they put time, effort, and money into making Flower and Garden better, it really doesn't forgive all crimes against humanity, but it forgives some of them.
Yes,
and it does go a long way. I mean, so like I said, I was really excited after everything that's been going on with FastPass Plus lately, and all the negativity around it, to have a week where we have two things to cover: the Flower and Garden Festival and this, that were just absolutely fantastic, and we're able to honestly say these were really, really good additions to the lineup at Disney, especially this parade. I just, if we can't have Tapestry of Nations back,
right?
This is great. I want Tapestry of Nations back, though. I miss that parade. I think that was one of the best.
I agree with you.
Ever, and that music was incredible. But so everybody agrees. Phenomenal
from what I saw at home.
Yep, it sure was.
I can't wait to go see it myself.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know it looked great on camera, absolutely.
It's really
but
awesome.
I don't think it. I think it's probably the video pales in comparison to the experience right there.
I can't wait to go back and actually listen to the music, because I feel like being under the train station, we heard echoes and we had music coming all this way and that way, and it kind of shows on the video in a bit, but. No, I want to go back and actually experience everything with my own eyes and really
without the pressure of having to film it.
Yeah, that's
I want to see it without taking the pictures, because it's like I thought the dragon was going to do something, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to start firing off pictures, and it's like, I hope I got it. I hope I got it. And then when I looked at my pictures, I'm like, yes.
Well, I literally I had one eye closed and the other eye on the eyepiece. So
Dustin only knows it through the eyepiece.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for our discussion on the new parade, Festival of Fantasy at the Magic Kingdom, and that will do it for our show for this week. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next time with another edition of the DIS Unplugged. Have a great week, everyone, and remember, stay out of the damn lakes. Have a good one.